I was really excited to start doing our first interview. I had no idea who it could be.
I was expecting someone that we would know, like someone famous.
So we were right outside Love Park in the middle of Philadelphia, and Doug told us to go find love. So we went into the park and we were looking for whoever we were supposed to meet, and this crazy dude comes running out with pretzels.
Hey, I'm giving out free pretzels if anybody wants one. Philly's finest. These guys all took one. This is a Philly specialty. Y'all look like with all your cameras and stuff, you're not from around here, so you want a pretzel?
I thought he was just some dude off the street coming at us.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, is he part of this? I just kind of wanted to walk away.
So what brings you all together? College?
Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much. You didn't get one, right? I'm just giving out, they're $1 each, by the way. They're good, though. They're the best ones here. Thank you. I'm just kidding, man. That's a gift. This is a city of brotherly love, you know? Well, welcome to Philly. Do you know where you are?
We're in Love Park.
This is Love Park. Welcome to Love Park. I'm Shane Claiborne. If you got a few minutes, I'd love to show you around Philly.
Okay. Cool. I'm Kendra. Nice to meet you.
Actually, if you got a few hours, in fact, if you got the whole evening, I'd love to spend it with you, talk about the Jesus Revolution, and rock this city out. Is that all right?
Woo!
Okay. Now, tell me your names one more time.
As we came into the neighborhood that Shane lived in and that the Simple Way community was in, it was definitely something that was different than I was used to.
I was realizing that we were getting into, I guess, the bad parts of Philadelphia, and I was just expecting to be blown away by whatever I saw because I knew that it was going to be different than what I was expecting to learn.
Well, welcome to the neighborhood. This is our home, the home of the Simple Way community. Come on in, we'll show you around.
I loved Shane's house. I thought it was the coolest house I've ever been in because it was so simple and artsy.
He showed us upstairs and he showed us downstairs.
When he took us down to his basement and showed us his little chapel room, it was awesome. There's halfway burned candles everywhere. All these prayer requests were written down on the walls. I just thought it was really sweet.
What Shane does at the Simple Way is that he helps the people who live around him who don't have homes or are homeless, and he just opens up his house for them. He worked on abandoned houses in his neighborhood so that the people could have somewhere to stay.
We didn't go in many of the houses, but we went into another one they were fixing up, and all the houses in that area seemed real cool to me.
It was sort of a reality check because a lot of us take living in a house with running water, stuff like that. We take that for granted a lot.
Shane took us up to his roof to talk to us a little bit about his life and his experiences.
When we went up onto the roof, I thought that was really cool.
First of all, I'm from East Tennessee. That's why you hear a little bit of an accent. When y'all go down there to the University of Tennessee, you give a little shout out, because that's where I'm from. And so I was raised in East Tennessee, really smothered in the Bible Belt. I was raised in that Christian culture that, for me, Jesus was only kind of in the stained glass window, and very, I don't know, kind of boring. I got really disenchanted with the the gospel that I was raised in and just the churchy culture. but I was always fascinated with Jesus. You know, I would read the scriptures and I would just go, man, does anybody really believe he meant this stuff? You know, like what if we really asked ourselves, did he mean this? You know, what would it mean for our world? I guess most Christians, they believe something different than most other people. Like they believe Jesus rose from the dead or whatever, but it wasn't, Christianity was just a belief. You know, it was about, you hear all this language of believers, but I think even the scriptures say that the demons believe in Jesus, but they can't love, you know, they don't, and it's about, to me, Christianity is about a way of life. That's what the early church called it, you know, the way. It was a way of life that we discovered together. So I wanted to see someone that really believed it and lived it, you know, and I like Mother Teresa. You know, you guys know Mother Teresa? Brooke and I like Mother Teresa a lot, so we wrote her a letter, you know, we're like, we'd love to come out there. We don't know if you give internships or whatever, you know, but we'd love to come out and work. And we waited, and I'm not real patient. So like in a couple of weeks, I started calling nuns. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get hold of Mother Teresa. You know, and they're like, is this a prank call? I called this nun in New York, and she's of Mother Teresa's order. She's like, okay, I'm going to give you the number for Calcutta. Don't give it out, you know. And we had to call in the middle of the night, so it would be noon in India, in Calcutta. And it was $4 a minute. So we're like, yeah, we'll make this quick, you know. So Brooke and I are standing there, we call, and on the other line, we just hear, hello. And I'm going, man, hello. I was expecting, you know, Missionaries of Charity, how can we help you, or something like that. But thinking $4 a minute, wrong number. I'm calling from the United States, you know, I'm trying to get a hold of Missionaries of Charity or Mother Teresa, and then I hear on the other line, well, this isn't Missionaries of Charity, this is Mother Teresa. We said, well, we want to come out and work with you. And she's like, yeah, I know, come on out. You can come out and work. And we're like, well, where are we going to eat? You know, where are we going to sleep? And she says, well, God takes care of the lilies and the sparrows, and God will take care of you. You know, so who are we to argue with Mother Teresa? So we got our shots, and we went out to Calcutta, and we lived an incredible adventure. Like Brooke and I worked in the Home for the Dying, where we just held people. But it was amazing because it wasn't just so dark and depressing. You know, when you walk into the morgue in the Home for the Dying, there's a sign that says, I'm on my way to heaven. And when you walk out, it says, thanks for helping me get here. So it was a tremendous time that we worked in the orphanages. We worked in, I spent some time in a leper colony. Coming back from Calcutta, we knew that we were coming back home. You know, Mother Teresa said, Calcuttas are everywhere if we'll only have eyes to see. Find your Calcutta. And so we knew that this was our Calcutta, you know. So what we did, we would read Acts 2 and 4, you know, about the early church, where it says, all the believers shared everything they had. No one claimed that any of their possessions were their own. Have you read these verses? But they shared everything they had, and there were no needy persons among them. They ended poverty. We read those verses and we're like, oh my gosh, let's do that. Jesus could have fixed everything, you know? That was the temptation in the desert, I think, when the tempter comes and says, turn all the stones into bread. You know, you can feed all the hungry people. Turn the stones into bread and feed all the children that are starving. And Jesus resists the temptation. Why? I struggle with that, you know, but I think it's because he trusts us, because he trusts the church to be like you are literally Jesus with hands and feet on. You know, this Holy Spirit lives in you, that Paul can write, the life I live, I no longer live, but Jesus lives in me. You're literally the hands and feet of Jesus alive in the world. And so God is as alive in the world as God is living inside of us, you know. There's a comic that was in the paper in Philly where these two guys are talking, and that's what one of them, he says, I got a question, you know, I'd like to ask God. And his friend says, well, what is it? And he says, I'd like to ask God why God allows all this pain and poverty and suffering in the world. I'd like to ask God. And his friend says, well, why don't you ask him? And the guy says, I guess I'm scared. And he says, well, what are you scared of? He says, I guess I'm scared that God will ask me the same question. You know, and I think when we've seen a lot of the stuff that we've seen and experienced the stuff that we've experienced, a lot of times we do go, God, why do you allow this? But I think the incredible thing is, over and over, we feel those questions nudge back to us, you know? And we feel God going, you tell me why we allow this. Why do we allow people to live on the streets when people have an empty bedroom in their house? There came a point where we said, we're going to stop complaining about the church we see, and we're going to be the church that we dream of, and the church that Jesus dreamed of. And so we've tried to hold on to those, and as literally as we can, try to live out the gospel. And so we're you know, botching it up here and there, making a lot of mistakes, but we're at least giving the gospel way of life a try. You know, we're trying.
The way Shane's living his life right now, it inspired me and it challenges me.
He's doing like exactly what Jesus told us to do, you know, like when he left. And it's so simple, like he's got the simplest little things, but it's like a great life that way. You know, you don't have to have a whole lot of things. It's really cool because he's helping a lot of people, and you can see the joy in his face about helping all these people and the new ideas they come up with to help them and to share God's word. And it's like really an inspiration with me is like, because if this one man can make a difference in like a Philadelphia neighborhood, you know, I can make a difference in my school.